Smackdown on the rocky road to Dublin. Santa's reference for those who don't know. Anyway, hey guys, what's going on? It's Kai the Casual back again with Kai's Top 5. This was a wonderful episode of Smackdown tonight. Without further ado, let's get into the honorable mentions for the show. And I have a few honorable mentions because we had plenty going on this show, plenty of good wrestling, plenty of good story building moments. Let's get into it. First of all, I just need to give a special shout out to the Irish people. Gotta love it when WWE goes to other places outside the US. So thank y'all for just being a great crowd and making some noise for your people and people all over the world. The audience is a big part of, the enjoyment. So I just want to shout you guys out. Piper Niven got a shock surprise win on Charlotte Flair tonight. Alexa Bliss was missing. She is supposed to be in tag action against the Secret Hervis next week. So we'll see what happens. And of course, I think at the top of my honorable mentions tonight, Drew McIntyre, who was cheered very loudly by the Irish crowd. He comes in, he interrupts the medical update of Cody Rhodes, and after running him down, we get a very, very nice RKO moment out of nowhere by Randy Orton, baby. Very cool moment. The Viper is back, reigniting that rivalry. So, from there, let's get into my number 5 top moment of the night. It's a bit out of order tonight, and I'm also combining a moment. If I got a new rule on these videos. If the moments connect into another moment, like if the opening of the show relates to the main event, I'm gonna count those as one thing. It's my channel, I make the rules. But anyway, getting into number 5, our first match of the night was a Mello Don't Miz versus Motor City Machine Guns. And I like what they've been doing with this story with the Miz and Mello. We see Carmelo at first being greeted by Fraxium, who they faced last week. And they actually say, hey, good job on getting that win last week, even though Miz kind of stole your thunder. Then the Miz shows up and he, rattle, and Mello takes his side and they go out and they get ready for their match with Motor City Machine Guns. Raise your fist, and they win, but only after, once again, the Miz tags himself in and pretty much takes advantage of Carmelo's already hard-fought work in the ring, with Chris Sabin, I believe, being the one who was down inside the ring, ready to be pinned. So, we'll see what happens. I actually do know what happens next for them next week, but that relates into another one of my moments, so I will leave that for that entry when we get to it. So moving on. Number 4, my number 4, ranking these, counting down, I think number 4 is a good place for this, just because this wasn't actually a match. R-Truth is up to his old shenanigans again. Ron Killings didn't show up. However, we got R-Truth video calling in from Dublin, not Ireland, but Georgia. And he calls in. He was supposed to face Aleister Black, during their whole rivalry. But now we have him calling in goofily. And he said, hey, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. My bad. Once again, over here saying my bad. And he's saying, okay, yeah, I flew to Georgia, not Ireland. But it's okay, because I got a friend that wants to see you. And Damian Priest's music hits. He's back on SmackDown. I hope his recovery went well. He was dealing with some, nagging injuries, from, the match with Drew McIntyre. I believe they had a crazy landing in a fatal 4-way match with the two of them. They both got banged up pretty bad. But he took some time off to heal up. I'm glad he's back. And then we just see a massive brawl between him and Aleister Black. So that rivalry is not over yet either. I think Ron Killings, outside of kayfabe, is doing a lot of music work right now. He just had his new White album. I believe it's called the White Album, his country album. It came up number 10 on the Billboard charts. So congrats to you, dog. Like, keep doing your thing in and outside of the ring. That's probably the reason why he's not actually there, but hey, gotta love that he still, you know, included his funny side in this show, and we get Alistair and Damian continuing their feud. So, number 3, and again, this is what I meant by combining moments. In the opening of the show, we had the hometown girl, Becky Lynch, come out. She was visibly emotional, holding back tears of joy, but of course she's a bad guy. And after hyping, you know, herself in WWE, doing their first ever live televised show in Ireland, she has to turn and run down the crowd, run down Katie Taylor and other Irish stars. And yeah, you know, she even hypes up, you know, her American husband, Seth Rollins. And the crowd chants, CM Punk, CM Punk. Again, I love this crowd tonight. How do you get heel heat in your own country? But she did it. So anyway, this leads into, of course, her being cut off by Tiffany Stratton, who then is followed by Nia Jax. And the two of them beat Tiffany down after this, but she's rescued by an unlikely ally in Jade Cargill. And of course, it's SmackDown, so holla holla, shout out to Teddy Long. We get a match made for the main event. Nia Jax and Becky Lynch are now forced to team, along with Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton, the champ. So, again, I didn't separate this moment. The main event was decent. I wasn't blown away, which is kind of why this is number 3, but it was still good. The match ended when Becky abandons Nia in the middle of the ring. She just says, "Nope, I'm out," and you know, boo. And this leads into a prettiest moonsault ever from Nia Jax. After Jade lays her out with a corner power bomb, you know, gotta get big Nia Jax up from the corner, so she, you know, power bombs her. And after the exhaustion from that, Jade tags in Tiffany. She hits prettiest moonsault ever, and then Tiffany, they work together. She tagged just to make sure that, you know, they keep Jax down. She tags in Jade, and she hits her own frog splash for her to get the pin and the win. They could coexist after all. So it was stated early in the night, though, that Jade is still after Tiffany's WWE Women's Championship. So we'll see what happens from there. Anyway, okay, y'all know I love the Street Profits, man. I love me some Street Profits, and they won big tonight in my number 2 moment against the MFT of Tongaloa and JC Mateo. This was a really good match. Love the action. They're booked next week against Mellow Don't Miz for a WWE world title shot, a world tag team title shot. Sorry, I just want to get the name of the titles right. It's the WWE tag team titles. The world tag team titles are on Raw. So just want to get that right while we're thinking about it. During the match, they were aided, of course, by Jimmy Uso and Sami Zayn. Happy birthday to Jimmy and Jay Uso, by the way. Time of recording, usually get these videos on the Saturday following SmackDown, but I had to wish them a happy birthday. And again, congrats on little baby Uso coming our way. But anyway, they also helped out fend off Tala Tonga and Solo Sikoa on the outside. Love the haluva kick into the table from Sami Zayn. They kept Tala Tonga looking strong. He was hit with a chair, and he ends up smacking it away from Jimmy after the fact, and he beats him out to the outside into the crowd. So that was really cool. But as for what was my top moment of this SmackDown, and again, this is combined with how the show closed, was John Cena's promo segment interrupted by Logan Paul, of course. Before John gets a single word in after his introduction, Paul, he runs down England. and, you know, he did that. He said England for, you know, heel heat, of course. You know, calls them dumb, calls, you know, all the things that you know you do to get heel heat against a location. But then he runs down John Cena. He even talks about, oh, I don't have to get naked at the Oscars for attention. I just do my thing and I get it because, you know, I'm that guy. La 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 la. I'm so humble. The irony of that song. But anyway, moving on. It's John Cena's turn, and we know how excellent this man is on the mic. He runs down Logan. I have always enjoyed Cena just picking apart upcoming stars. And not in a bad way of golden shovel burying them, but just how real that John Cena is allowed to be on his promos. He questions Paul's motivation, and he says, oh, you've been here for, you know, you've had matches on PLEs or whatever. I was doing this when the cameras weren't on, here in Ireland when we didn't have these live televised events, because I did it for the love of the game. You did this for you. That's what your motivation for doing this is. I did this for the love of the game and for the people, and your 23 matches is nothing compared to my 23 years in this company and business. And he corrects the fan base on saying, no, yeah, he's been doing this for 4 years. He's right. And Logan Paul is a great athlete. He is not an outsider like we all call him. No, he's just a parasite in it for himself. He knocks down, he has a Jesus moment. He knocks down the table of Prime being, you know, advertised at the side, you know, looked like another new flavor or whatever. And, you know, gets in his face or whatever. So, after completely decimating him on the mic, Logan argues with him. He shoves him about 3 times, and he goes for it again, and John counters with a AA straight into the mat. Celebrates with the crowd on his way out. Ireland got the treat of Cena, but Cena's involvement in the night wasn't over yet. The show closes after the main event of the ladies, and he's seen exiting his, you know, private locker room when he's approached by Nick Aldis, who's about to deliver news about Brock Lesnar. And then out of nowhere, after being motivated earlier in the night by Drew McIntyre, he gets one lucky punch in on John Cena, lays him out backstage. So we don't know what the news with Brock Lesnar is. We'll have to wait and see for that. But those were my top 5 moments of this week's SmackDown. Let me know what yours were in the comments section, of course. And like, comment, share, and subscribe. Ring that bell notification. And of course, I love you. Enjoy pro wrestling. And for the love of pro wrestling, keep it casual. We'll see you guys next time for Monday Night Raw next week. Adios.